Hey, good looking. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're duping the vibes of the Makeup by Mario Ethereal palette. I unfortunately am not able to bring in another camera. I don't know if it's from my end or if it is that StreamYard's kind of like revamping some of their formats. So it kind of knows when you have two cameras from the same source. Don't really know what's going on there. But at any rate, I have tried a couple, multiple, triple, quadruple times, and I am not able to bring in another camera. I can't even bring in another guest, like pretend like, my second camera is my guest. So today I'm going to be featuring for you guys, kind of just presenting for you guys what I have for the Makeup by Mario Ethereal palette using the Lorac Pro palettes that I've purchased. And then I will also give you guys some different options that we can sub out because it is a matte heavy formula. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. I'll probably just take this camera and angle it down when it gets time because it's not really fun sitting here watching me dupe the vibes like this, but we got to work with what we got here, folks. So, and then StreamYard lets me edit it out. So I could just take the, when it's like fumbling around and stuff, I can just take that out later. So you guys will have like a smooth transition. As always, I do offer this live stream for you guys at no charge. So you guys won't have to watch ads, but then I will, if you're seeing it on the replay, I will go ahead and put ads on it. So I'll monetize it after the live stream. But if you're watching it live, that's my gift to you. You guys don't get any ads, which I don't think you usually do get ads. Sometimes I have seen ads on live streams before I'm able to start watching them, but generally speaking, no, not since I've upgraded to premium for the most part. How's my audio out there? My audio is also kind of like wonky. I don't know what the deal is. I was able to at one point kind of like check it. Now I have my USB plugged in over there, so it's kind of in the way of where I would put my I don't like ads either. It's all different now, okay? I'm really sorry. Unfortunately, I think StreamYard is kind of wisening up. Okay, so audio is good. Awesome. Always love a good audio. I wish the video could be a little bit better and we could toggle back and forth, but I kind of suspected last time around when I was toggling back and forth and I had to manually switch over the audio, I was like, it's kind of like they know it's from the same source and I'm bringing in two cameras. And normally they like you to upgrade. That's really expensive, not quite on my budget just yet. So we'll work with what we've got. Hopefully you guys are doing good. Say hello in the chat if you're here live with me. If you're watching it on the replay, make sure you comment down below what you'll be using or whether or not you'll be purchasing the Makeup by Mario Ethereal Eyeshadow palette. I feel like we've had enough neutral palettes enter the market at this point that this is not something that's new. It's not even something that's revolutionary, even though people do boast that he has a fairly revolutionary formula for those shimmers. All right, let's get into it. So we've got some people on. Say hello if you dare. This is what I chose for the Makeup by Mario Ethereal Eyeshadow palette, and it is from Noir. Oh, the dog. Delbert, please. This is my time to shine, buddy. It's from Noir, Fairytale Forest, and Soleil. So without any further delays, we'll get started. Here we go. We're going to go ahead and put this in the stream. I got a little presentation. You guys can... Hey, this is his first time in a live stream, so he's a little shy. You going to talk for us? Just burp in my face. That's always nice. I'm going to go ahead and switch over the camera here, kind of get it situated so we can just show you what I've got, and then we'll do swatches. I do have swatches in my little presentation that I have, and we'll see how close I got, and then we'll see different options that you guys can do. Yes, everybody say hello to Delbert. It's my Dasha dork. Doglet. It's too cold to be outside, so he's not going to go outside for a little bit. Although he would, he thinks otherwise because this morning he got out. So, all right. How can I do this the smoothest way possible for my live streamers such that I don't have to cut off too much when I go back and edit it? Here we go. All right, folks, there we are. Now we've got it kind of like downward facing. All right, so here's the palette. Got it right there. And what do we think so far of the shadows? I will go ahead and be listing the shadows that I used from the palettes, but also I just want you guys to take a look and see what you think. I forgot to grab like the necessary tools that I need. Oh, this one's going to be this is kind of big actually. So I might grab my other one that's a little bit smaller. Excuse me, Delbert. And you guys, that way I don't run the risk of damaging shadows, because this one right here is a little bit smaller and it works just a little bit better at gently removing shadows. Some of those, like the cow magnet, for example, that I have usually listed in my description box, which will be later listed in the description box, that's pretty strong, and sometimes it can yank your shadows out. So I always recommend using the smallest amount of pull that you need that will safely remove the shadow. Don't try to like overkill like I do sometimes. So let's get started. The first shade, and I don't think he labels them actually. Nope, it goes this way. So I don't think he labels them. I could be wrong, but I don't think he just has EE01, EE02, and that kind of thing. So this shadow right here is taken from the Noir palette, and it is Ecru. That's where I got it from. So I'll show you guys where I am pulling these from at the same time. So I'm pulling it from here. I kind of already did it, and then the idea was to dupe the vibes, and then the whole camera situation. So then I was like, let's just leave it like this, and then we'll have some fun subbing out some of these shadows for other shadows in our collection. So here is Ecru. And oopsie. There's the shadow. Oops. So you can see there. I mean, it's not anything like revolutionary. It's a matte beige. I did have other options within my palettes, so I could have went a little deeper with something like soft taupe up here from Noir. I also could have went a little bit warmer. I could have went with warm vanilla or any of these that were a little bit deeper. So these are on sale at Ulta for $23.40 a piece. If you got all three of these shadow palettes, then it would basically be the same cost as the Makeup by Mario. Not trying to sway your opinion or anything like that, but just let you know, you're basically getting, what is it? So there's 18 times 3, that's 56 shadows for the price of 12 Makeup by Mario shadows. So, I mean, you got to make that decision for yourself. The next shadow is kind of an important one when duping the vibes, and it's kind of one of his standout shades. So I think it's this one right here, and this one that are really the standout shades in this palette of his. So it would be number 2, number 6, and probably 11 would be my guess, because those are actually, somewhat showing up. They are topper shadows, and for this second shade, I chose from the Fairytale Forest, I believe. No, it was from Soleil, and it was Opal. It's also available as a single, so if you were in the market of buying this particular shade and you wanted just this one and you liked it a little better than what Makeup by Mario's palette offers, you could go ahead and choose Opal. It is quite opaque as far as the shade goes. However, I will say this. Maybe I should put my mouse here on the left so then I can just really confuse myself with the left hand. Building it up, you'll see that it builds up in opacity. The sparkle is not really coming across camera that well, but it does have quite a bit of a sparkle and a glittery formula. So I'm not sure if you guys are being able to see that or not. So anyways, that is Opal, available as a single, also available in the Soleil palette. It is featured right here as the spot. And that is what I chose for the Makeup by Mario. It does have a little bit less sparkle than the Makeup by Mario one, but nonetheless, it is a great option. Okay, third shadow in, nothing special. Again, we see Sand Dune, and it comes from the Soleil palette. So it's that second row, that shadow right there. Let me go ahead and get a swatch for you. I don't know if you're able to see it. I can go deeper, I can go lighter, because if I own this entire palette, I can just choose any one of those in there, and it will, for the most part. Come on, focus. Oh boy, she's not focusing at all. Oh boy, what's Dilbert doing? He's getting into something. But that is the shade that I chose. It's a little bit more brown, a little less orange, I guess maybe is the term. But anyways, there you have it. I am going to go ahead and let in just a little bit more light. Hopefully I don't have too much. There we go. Now you can maybe see a little bit more of the glisten. Maybe not. Hi. All right, fourth shade in is Sable. It's described as kind of like a matte brown, creamy. I'm using, or from the Ethereal, it would be EE04. And from my dupe palette, it is Sable from Noir. It's this place right here. We'll put it up as a swatch. I thought it turned out fairly close in comparison to the actual swatch on camera. I have no idea. Let me see. I hate to adjust this and get you guys all there. Hi. Thank you, Lisa. I love your cooking shows. Lisa has a cooking show and I watch her shorts all the time. They're so yummy and they're ASMR vibes. They're so delicious. Stir in your shorts. They are so fun to watch. Okay, so the fourth shade in, matte creamy brown. I feel like everybody's got one. I don't know how to get this to stop. Maybe on your end it's not like doing the whole wavy thing, but on my end it is. So I'm going to move these up. Second row, first shadow is, we'll go back here. Yeah, first shadow in the second row. I'm not doing a very good job swatching, but here you have it. I'm using for that Fog, and that's our first shade that comes into play from the Fairytale Forest palette. And I feel like this dupes the vibes fairly well. Delbert's in here too. Come on, Delbert. Hey, I see that, buddy. I see you, bud. I should have stuck you upstairs to finish your nap. So anyways, I'm not sure, like, am I supposed to be? That doesn't even help it. But there you go. That's the first shade on the second row. Now, here's where it gets really fun. This shade right here is the second one. So it's EE06, I think, in the Mario palette. But this is what I chose. It is from the Noir palette. So let me go ahead and grab it up here. And I chose, I think the shade is called Stardust. Yeah. However, somebody told me that it was basically the same exact shadow as the Moondust Space Cowboy. So if you have Space Cowboy, it would be like this shade right here. Boy, I'm just really like this quality, not as good as I'd hoped. I should have went with my phone, but that's neither here nor there. Another alternative that would be a little bit cheaper would be Ritz from ColourPop. Hey, Delbert, can you leave that alone? And it is right here. Actually, Ritz has more. I think mine might be drying up finally. Oh, wow. Hang on just a second as I... Hi, Kendi. How are you doing? Let me see if I can't... There we go. Grab some more lighting on this side. Does that help, folks? Does it? I feel like it's not helping because my camera that I'm using is actually not as good a quality as my phone camera. There we go. I'm somewhat slowly kind of getting some good swatches there. So Ritz, and there is the Moon Dust Shadow from Urban Decay in Space Cowboy. This is what I was told is the closest to the Makeup by Mario shadow. However, I'm using Stardust. So there's Stardust. It has a little bit more pigment behind it because I think many of the people that their biggest complaint with this is that several of his shades, they're all sparklers and you can't really differentiate between the two. So they only need one. Are they? What is the Viseart Black Friday sale? I know Muse Beauty is where you buy Viseart, but then doesn't also Viseart have its own website now? Maybe I shouldn't be told what it is. So anyways, that is the second shade in. The third shade in is probably one of the most different shades from the collection. And it is kind of a pink, it's a matte pink dusty rose. Let's go ahead and let's get a swatch for you guys. I chose the shade Rosewood, and it is also from the Fairytale Forest. So that's our second shade from the Fairytale Forest. Now, I don't think this is as pink as Mario's. So if you, I don't know why you would be like this, but in the case that you were, yeah. Well, I hope you get well soon, Kendi. But I think this shadow right here is, in the event that you were, let's say like, oh, I only want that pink, that's the only standout shade for me. And you were just wanting this shadow right here, I would say use your favorite pigmented blush in place of that shadow and you'd probably be fine. I'm going to make one more slight adjustment, see if I can't figure out. It's not a very good camera. I'm sorry. Oh boy. Oh, now it's really like, oh my goodness, it's really crazy now. See what happens when you mess with stuff live? I'm gonna have to cut this out. But I just really want you guys to be able to see the shadow swatch, and unfortunately, that doesn't even stop it. Is anybody else having this problem where it's like kind of like those running lines through it? But anyways, there you go. So we'll move on. Okay, this shadow right here is the last on the end of the second row, and it is, I think it's one of his only shimmers, an actual true shimmer. It's not a sparkler or topper shade, and it is EE08. I think, I'm not sure. I don't know how he's labeled it, or I don't think he's had any names put on his. I'm using the shade Whiskey, and I believe it's from Noir. Oh, it's from Noir. Really beautiful brown shimmery shade. It's just really pretty. I feel like you could get it from most palettes. that have a shimmery brown shade that's somewhat warm. For shadow in the last row is a warm, I would call it a terracotta shade. Again, I don't feel like it's anything revolutionary. However, if you are just dying to have that palette and couldn't or didn't, couldn't spend the money on it and you have these palettes available, check these out because this right here from the Soleil palette, Red Cedar, is the shade that looks fairly similar. It's a nice alternative, let's put it that way. Okay, let's move into the second shade. It is also from the Fairytale Forest. This one I did have problems with. It is Camarabre, and it has a golden shift to it. And unfortunately, I didn't find any shades that were as light and opaque and golden in any of these palettes. Believe it or not, I couldn't find anything else. We do have like a light champagne type of shade though. And I will show you guys these after I adjust the camera up again. So we'll probably have some better lighting here in just a minute. From the Noir palette, we have our third and final topper shade. This is Rendezvous from Noir. Noir advertises these as sparkles. So anytime any of their formula has sparkle in it, then it's usually like a sparkly topper type of shade. So I am like inundated with all the Black Friday specials. And as my year-end no-buy approaches, I'm just like flabbergasted at the amount of possibilities. So it's crazy. Okay, last shade from the Soleil palette. Believe it or not, they have kind of this cool neutral toned ash brown shade. And it's just a nice matte brown, really good for dark deepening up. I would call this an anything but shade. It's very dark. So definitely something worth checking out. Let's go and move you guys up. This is where we're really going to have fun. Hopefully it's like not too crazy. Okay, so here we go. See, it doesn't look any better. And I feel like I have actually, in order to see the differences, I need to stand up. So there you go. Those are some differences in the palette. There's the shades swatched on my arm. And you can see that I don't think the Makeup by Mario palette is enticing anybody that doesn't want to try out a brand new revolutionary formula. So I think that, the people who want to buy it will buy it because they really like his formula from other past palettes. However, the general consensus has been that these metallic shades are not shades that are found from his previous. This is something new. And also a lot of people have said that his mattes are pretty powdery in this new palette. So I'm wondering if, in fact, he reformulated both his mattes and his shimmers. Really pretty cool to see a revolutionary palette, come out this year in something just a little bit different. Again, I've got some swatches of some alternative shades here. Moon Dust Shadow in the Urban Decay Space Cowboy. We are really blown out, folks. I'm going to go ahead and slide over here and just kind of give myself a little bit. There we go. Sorry, as the sun kind of moves around on me, so shall my lighting. So let's see I'm eager to see what a couple of these shades here look like. And then I want to substitute out a shadow from one of these palettes because this is a matte heavy palette. You won't get a whole lot of different shimmers from the palette. I did not bring any makeup brushes over here and I'd have to walk over there. I thought I had some brushes. No, I don't. Definitely going to be using my fingers, team fingers right here. I definitely want to see how Noir performs from the Noir shadow Stardust performs on the eyes. So should we do two different? You know what? Let's do both sides the same, and then I'll show you guys with the sparkler shades and show you guys the difference. And I was also going to bring my tape over and remove some of this hard pan and show you guys how to remove some hard pan, or just what I've seen in previous videos. I'm behind. You know what threw me off though is because I couldn't connect my second camera, and I was like, why? Why won't it work? And then I was just like, well, should I change what my live stream is about and just do an upright and do a little bit of like get ready with me makeup style? No, I think I can handle this. I was like ready to throw in the towel because I really, really wanted to be able to use that second camera instead of having to like move mine up and down. Okay. Placing Stardust on the eyes. It's starting to hard pan too. I may just have to slide over. I can see it from here. I can see it with my eyeballs. I just can't reach it without. Of course, I can. I guess StreamYard's letting me edit out clips. Maybe that's why. They're like, we know you're going to have a lot of mistakes to edit out after you can't have your second camera. Ha ha ha. Because sometimes, I can just leave a nice little flat lace. You guys can look at the, eyeshadows in the palettes and just kind of look at them and stare at them while I grab something, that's like a couple feet away. Not anymore. All right, so it's a very glittery, sparkly shadow. I don't know if you guys can see it or not. I am going to go ahead and take Opal and put it on the top of, it does have somewhat of a sheer, like you can see it. It's not exactly sheer sparkler. I'll show you guys what you could use instead. And also, I will link her. She's got a blog. It's Steph's Edge. She did some Fairytale Forest comparisons as well to the Makeup by Mario. She actually has a palette. And she did some comparisons. There's a couple of shades in the Fairytale Forest. And it's these two right here. These are topper shades. This one is North Star, and this one is Folklore right here. And let me go ahead and give you guys swatches. These are the ones that are hard painting on me. It's just the way the formula works. It's kind of like my Natasha Denona shades. But you can see right there. This one right here, North Star, is probably would be my first selection on choosing an eyeshadow topper shade. But you know what? Mario's palette, that shadow does have some opacity to it. It does have some. So there it would. Can you see it up on now? Yeah, you can see it up on the top. I'm just going to back it up just a little bit. Boy, we are just blown out. I don't know what the deal is there. Anyway, so let me grab some fresh because I got some previous shadow in there, or maybe I dipped into it on accident when I did this swatch. But you can see here, I dust it on my eyes. A glittery topper. Well, maybe. Well, you know what would help with this hard pan? If I had my tape or even like an eyebrow brush would help. Go ahead and scoochy. Okay. So I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but the glittery topper differences aren't really noticeable until you see it in real life. So I feel like this is kind of one of those, it's not going to be show-stopping unless you see it in person. Another, and I'm cheating here, another one that I saw compared was Jaclyn Hill's eyeshadow topper shade Icicle. These were at TJ Maxx a little while ago. They aren't anymore, I don't think. I think most of them have been bought up. But this shade right here, pretty smooth, buttery, really pigmented, and it also has that sparkler. It's a little bit more sophisticated, I would say, not quite as like glittery looking, but nonetheless, you can see there. Boy, it is super washed out. There we go. And you could put that on as a nice topper shade. Has a little bit of opacity underneath it. You can see it. There's kind of a nude shade. So that would also be a good one in place of that sixth shadow in the Makeup by Mario palette. Go ahead and move back over to it. That sixth shade. So that one that everybody's kind of really the most interested in. I use Stardust. Mine again has some pigment behind it from the Noir palette. I chose it that way for the reason being that the other three were like indistinguishable sparkle shadows. And it's like, you have one, you have them all kind of thing. So, I mean, like the Natasha Denona Gold, Kava and Sparks, I can tell the difference because there's a little bit of opacity in the micro glitter from like a clear to like a nude. Yes, you can tell the difference between, but I think in Mario's, his are too close in nature. I also did want to show you guys Natasha Denona's. I do have, what do I have? Nude. And it is the Chroma Crystal Top Coat. It's also a pretty alternative if you already have it, would be nice. It has even more opacity than the Natasha, or than the Jaclyn Hill one. And probably less sparkle. So it's probably a little bit like a one-up from a shimmer. I don't know if you guys can see it or not. There we go. There we have it. So again, top one is Jaclyn and the bottom one is from Natasha Denona. Jaclyn's aren't being sold anymore. I don't know about Natasha Denona's. I haven't checked her website recently, but again, another option. Like if you already have these laying around, it could work for you. Now, one last one to mention, that top shade up here, like I said before, it had sparkle and it had some opacity to it, and it was very, very light. I think it was more of a golden peach shade than it was this like pink. But what I had to work with from my Noir palettes, or my Lorac palettes, I chose a pink based one. But is this Ritz? No, this is Fine Pearl from ColourPop, has some opacity, but it does have quite a bit of that micro shimmer, so that could also be an option. I did a light swatch there, just kind of like tapping into it, but that would also be a nice one that you could possibly use. You can see it. Here we go. Now that we're just swatching the differences between like topper shades and formulations, I really think that ColourPop would do just fine in this instance. I really, really like these types of shadows. The ability to be able to transport them, and not have to like take this specific container is kind of a nice idea. I don't know if you guys have watched, I did the not Makeup by Mario, but Patrick Taw video where I actually did pop this sucker out. Mine comes right out. It came right out. I didn't even have to fight it. I don't know if I would recommend you doing that because they are in a case for a reason, because they do kind of have that like silicone type of formulation where it can dry out over time, but you can actually remove this little case here. And then mine just like popped out because I think it had like some silicone underneath it. Yeah, the adhesive came up. So there you go. That is it. And on my eyes, I put the sparkler shade from, well, who really knows at this point. And the other side I did, but I did put the Stardust from the Noir on both sides. I really like how it looks, but it doesn't look, does it look like I am wearing the Makeup by Mario palette? Like, if you didn't know, would you guess that I had used the Makeup by Mario palette? I think that it's easier to look at eyes and say, yeah, I bet you did do that versus swatches, because swatches usually can give it away. One last thing before we get going, before class is dismissed, I did want to kind of look at a couple of different shades in my Fairytale Forest palette. I know a few of you have purchased this palette. I don't know if it was my recommendation or just my review or whatever, but I did also want to give you guys a couple of different options to substitute out for any of those matte shades that you didn't want to use. I personally would like to substitute it out with a pink shade, and I would use Enchanted or Butterfly. And here's Enchanted. Got to make more room. And here's Butterfly. Both of these are kind of like a duochrome. One's a little bit more neutral. So this is Enchanted and this is Butterfly. Butterfly to me seems to be a more proper, should I say? I don't know. I think he would have done a little bit better and it would have been a little bit more well received as far as from a makeup artist standpoint if he would have substituted out one of those mattes and put in a duochrome with like a sparkly type of finish. So here we go. There's Butterfly. So you can see the pink. You can, I don't know if you can see a duochrome or not, but then here is, well, there's not even really that good of a swatch. And that's Enchanted, I believe. Yeah. So let me give you guys one more swatch. Is this hard panning on me too? I can keep my grimy hands out of them. There you go. So, I mean, personally, I don't have my little tool over here, so I'm just going to pop it out. Personally, I would choose this one. Kind of stays on theme with the Ethereal Eyes trend. Come on, baby. Oops. And then I jab it in, you know. You should get a tool with your palette. Oh, it's not coming. Because it's like right teetering on the edge of not being enough pull of magnetic force. So there we go. I'm going to substitute that out. I'm going to substitute out this like mauve-y shade. It is, I believe it's Rosewood. Yeah, it is Rosewood. So we'll go ahead and put it back in. I'm going to put this guy in. And show you what I got for my little Makeup by Mario alternative. So I don't know. I kind of think it's a good idea. All right. So what do you guys think? Are you going to buy the Makeup by Mario Ethereal palette? Let me know in the comments down below. If you guys are still here in the chat, let me know. And that is all I have for this week. I do apologize. I was not able to get another camera hooked up, but I will look into that further to see if in fact StreamYard's kind of getting smarter in terms of being able to distinguish that you're using two different cameras from the same source and able to toggle back and forth. I assume that that's probably what's going on because last week when I did my video, I had to manually switch over the audio. So that was kind of like, I've never had to do this before. It's always like had two different audios and, you know, so sometimes it would come in as muted or muffled because it was pulling audio from a different source. It was basically thinking that there was a guest on the screen, which is kind of what I was hoping it would do. But unfortunately, it's not letting me do that anymore. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Also, if you guys haven't already subscribed to my channel down below, please do so. we are going to be rolling out Vlogmas. It's going to be awesome this year. Every year I tell myself I'm never doing this again. I tell my friends to tell me never to do it again. And here I am anyways, filming for Vlogmas. I have planned out since September, probably, yeah, since September when I broke my foot, some of these really awesome little creative single shadow content. I do have a couple makeup brushes, and I don't do any sunscreen right now for Vlogmas, but I do a lot of single eyeshadow organization. I'll probably do a mini declutter. I probably have a mini declutter in there somewhere that I filmed. But it's some great makeup content. You're not going to want to miss it. It's all centered around makeup content. It's not an actual vlog in terms of like, I don't go around my house and show you, all that good stuff. So hi, Sarah. Thanks so much for joining us in this week's live stream. Next week will not be a live. It will be my monthly BYOP with Kara from Beauty and the Frizz and Kelly Rettenberger from Keep Beauty Real. And I'm inviting all of you who are still on, like Kendi, Sarah, all of you guys, put together your favorite BYOP. It is a theme winter wonderland. So any shadows that you feel you're inspired for a winter wonderland theme, we invite you to put those together so that we can use our single eyeshadows more. I feel like I use my single eyeshadows quite a bit, but I know some of you guys don't. So there you have it. You're all invited. You can post on Instagram or YouTube, or just tell me like, hey, this is what I'm going to use. I'm going to use some of these shadows. So thanks so much for joining me, guys. I cannot wait to see you guys in my next live stream. I might live stream Monday, maybe kind of sort of want to dupe the vibes of the Vive Muse palette, the 90s palette. I'm really kind of interested. It won't be like this though. I will have to do some checking into the whole like camera situation. So if that's not available, I might pick out some shadows ahead of time, film some B-roll and get it ready to go for you guys, and then just do like a live stream because it'll cut down on some editing time. So thanks so much for joining me, guys. Can't wait to see you guys in my next live stream.